joining us. We're going to jump into some introductions as you guys start to come into the live. As always, we've got our beautiful screen over here, so we want you guys to be commenting, to be liking, to be sharing, because we're going to see it. We're going to see it in real time, and we're going to try to answer your questions as we're talking about what we're talking about. So I am Dr. Monica Rippey. I am a nurse first. I am the CEO of Ascend Wellness Services, and of course I am also a mother of one cute Shiloh and a beautiful wife, and I'm excited to join you on Wellness Wednesday. I'm going to pass the floor to Miss Joseph so she can tell you all about who she is.
Hi you guys, I am Miss Andrea Josephs. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I am also a traumatologist. I am the mother of 5 girls, which makes me a princess producer. And I believe in everything whole, everything well, and everything optimal in my life and in the life of others.
Absolutely. My name is Karis. I am 17. I'm making the transition from high school to college. And I plan on studying psychology, so I'm just here to learn and weigh in what I think.
Absolutely. So great. I'm excited. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to refresh our page over here. You guys keep coming in. We want to say hi, so say hi in the comments. Tell us where you're from. We want to know where you're from. If you do say where you're from in the comments, we are going to be doing a little raffle and giving away a free gift at the end of the live today. So just go ahead and put your names there. We want to see you. So while we're working that out, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about today is sustainability. We're talking about goal setting, future casting, and we're talking about all things New Year's resolutions. So 2020, I would say, if you guys would agree, has been an interesting year for most people. I think most people set out at the beginning of 2020 trying to create some goals and resolutions. And I think just about all of us found out pretty quickly on around March time that some of the goals we set may not be as attainable as we thought, or we had setbacks or whatever. And so we thought that we would talk about going into 2021. We want to go into 2021 at Ascend with hope. We want to go through with vision. We want to go through with fresh ideas. And so tonight we're talking about some practical ways. So a big buzzer word for us at Ascend is sustainable. And sustainability is what we'll often say tonight. Being sustainable means to be able to be manifested or kept going as an action or a process. And so talk to us a little bit about what it means to be sustainable for you.
For me, I believe to be sustainable just involves taking, I call it small bites. I think sometimes when we have big goals and you want to dream big, I am a dream bigger. I am a big dreamer. And even for my children, I encourage them. I'm a purpose pusher, is what I call myself when it comes to my children. But sometimes when you embark upon those big things, you have to take it in small bites, or you can very much, get overwhelmed. So because of that, I think sustainability for me, if I go back to the most recent time, many of you know my story already, and I am a cancer survivor. I am excited about that, excited to be here to kind of share my life with you. For me, I had my very last surgery, actually November 3rd. So it's been just a little bit over a month or 6 weeks. And so I couldn't dive right back into the wellness things I normally practice. So sustainability for me was working with my surgeon, and they're saying, you can start back to work out, but you have to do it gradually. So we chose walking, and I chose walking. So I choose that one thing, and then I just hone in on that one thing until I feel like, I have kind of nailed that before I add something else. And that minimizes stress for me. That minimizes me being anxious. I don't want to be anxious for anything, but in everything I do, I just want to make sure that I'm flowing and taking my time. So that's what sustainability means for me.
And I know when we were talking about coming live with you guys this week, and we were thinking about what we were going to talk about, we began to talk about Miss Joseph. She's going to talk to you about some water. Because when we're starting to think about sustainability, I think the idea of making goals that are sustainable is to kind of jump them, to make goals that are realistic, to make goals that you know that you can keep going. Sometimes we create these very large, lofty goals, and then in that, we end up falling short or we'll feel guilty that we fell short. And so a lot of times, being sustainable might be something like making goals to reach the goal. So can you talk to us about the water? What that means to
Absolutely.
you?
And I'll be honest, I have some sitting right, down here beside me. When I was going back to when I started my cancer treatment, one of the things the doctor wanted me to do, and I remember when she said it to me, I felt so overwhelmed. She said, I want you to drink 84 ounces of water a day. This is 16 ounces. And so I was like, I really felt overwhelmed because, to be honest about it, in my daily practice, I didn't really even drink this. I mean, I might have drank this, but I had a lot of soda, to be honest, and a lot of other things. So she put me on 84 ounces a day, and I was like, how am I going to get this done? And so what was sustainable for me, I'm a mom, like I said, and so I just made it practical. I broke it down in small bites. This is 16 ounces and 16.9 actually, so that's almost another ounce. I count that one. And so what I did is I learned, and she told me that 33 ounces in an hour is enough. What they were trying to do is impact my lymphatic system,
Right.
during the chemo and kind of flush the chemo out. So I get my children ready, and so I kind of breathe. I didn't want to get overwhelmed. I was like, okay, what is sustainable for me? How can I put this into my life and not make such a lofty goal that I don't think about 85 ounces at 6 a.m. in the morning when I wake up? 6 a.m. for a lot of moms, I call it prime time. From 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. is when I get up, get time to myself, get my children off. So from 6 to 7, I committed to have one bottle. And then I went from there, and I would have 2 bottles from the time I woke up to the time I got the children prepared. And then I got really savvy, and when I got those 2 bottles, and I did this over a course of about 2 weeks.
Right.
And so I said, okay, now I'm going to have 2 ounces of 2 bottles of this water between the time I wake up and the time I get the kids in the car. And preparation means a lot. I mean, being prepared in anything. So at night, what I would do is I would leave one of these in my cot, in the cup holder. So that meant, what is that? 33 ounces? Somebody do the math for me and add it down there. But I would have 2 before I put them in the car, and then I would drop them off at school and have 1 on my ride in the office. So by the time I get to the office between 9-ish and 10, depending on when I first started seeing clients for the day or patients for the day, I would have had 3 bottles of water.
Right.
And it just blew me away.
Right.
So the words
How easy it became.
right.
How part of your life it became.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know for carers, they were in school, and so it was kind of hard for them because once my mom used to say, once you learn better, you do better. And so I learned something better. I learned the importance of my lymphatic system and keeping it flushed and keeping it healthy. I wanted to pass that on to my children. So I ended up getting them, what do you guys have? Hydro Flask. So tell us a little bit of how that made it easier for you around school.
I can say that once she decided that she was going to do that, a couple things did change around the house, because if she's eating healthy, we are eating healthy. So when she got us the Hydro Flask, it was easy for me to put the water inside of that bottle every couple hours, and it, for some reason, even though it's still water and it's still coming out from water, so it feels different to drink it from there. So it made me drinking water more often than I did before, I think. Just carrying that around with me, and it, just like decorating it and stuff. It made it a little funner, I guess, than being like, I have to drink this through water.
Right. It didn't make it feel like a chore.
Yeah.
Sometimes, creating these goals, oftentimes when we create goals for the new year, you'll hear a lot about weight loss. You'll hear a lot about, nutrition. I want to eat healthier. I want to lose 10 pounds. Those types of things. And sometimes those can start to feel a little laborious. They can start to feel like work. Like on top of my work and on top of my life with my kids or this or that, I feel like I'm doing so much more work. Does that make sense?
It does.
And so, like you're saying, getting something like the Hydro Flask made that goal more attainable for you, more sustainable for you, because you didn't feel like you were adding an extra task or doing so much more in order to reach that goal of drinking more water. So how about this? How about we have Karis? Karis, you tell us about a time that you had to make goals more sustainable to be reached.
I think the main place where I find myself having to make more goals or find myself having to crack down a little more is probably in my studies. I tend to be a little more laid back when it comes to that stuff because some of it comes a little bit easy to me, so I get a little bit sometimes. On top of just COVID and being in online school and the fact that I've got a little bit of senioritis at this point, it's been really hard for me to keep the goals that I've been setting for myself for a long time. So in order to do that, I've just given myself small things to do instead of looking at the big picture, because sometimes when I look at the big picture, I get a little stressed out. I take it, one bite at a time, just one little piece of the picture at a time. And I separate it that way, and I have this little to-do list thing, which I got at Target. It's so cute. It's like this little check-off thing that comes in the form of like a notepad, and I have it on my nightstand, and I write the separate things I have to do down on that thing, and I just make sure to check that. And it makes it, like she was saying earlier, like with my Hydro Flask, it makes it a little more fun for me, because it feels good to check off those items off that list, and I've got my sisters, they carry those day timers that they keep, and my mom, when she has her clients, she separates all of it like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I've got this meeting, I've got that meeting, and she separates it that way just so she knows what she has to do, and it feels a little bit less stressful when you're looking at something. You're like, okay, this is everything I need to do, instead of being confused of like, now what? Where am I going now? And so just breaking it down that way into little sizes of just being able to be like, okay, even though I know that I have 18 assignments to do for this class, I'm gonna focus on these 3. That way it doesn't feel as stressful. Overwhelming.
That made me think of something too. And as a counselor, when I do counseling with people, I often talk to them about vertical stressors and horizontal stressors. And Karis was saying, oh, it makes it less stressful. Really what she's talking about is pulling together her time management.
Right.
Is what she's talking about. And vertical stressors, if I can, and we'll talk about those as we go along. Vertical stressors are COVID. We can't control that. There are things you cannot control. A birth of the baby, it's time to deliver. That's a vertical stressor. It's something that life brings in your path that you didn't plan and you cannot control. Horizontal stressors are stressors that we can control. Right? So I cannot control the fact that maybe the baby's coming. Let me be just really real about it. I cannot control the fact that I got a cancer diagnosis when I got it. That was a vertical stressor, would you not say?
Yeah.
For my entire family. What I could control is how I managed it. How I managed my care. And when I say we came together like a well-oiled machine, Dr. Riffy, fortunately enough, listen, if your toddler is running around with a Dr. Miss Stuffing's bag and checking, let them do it. When she was younger, she ran around with a little plastic bag and checked people's temperatures on their forehead and, on their foot or whatever she was doing. But she's a nurse. And so that made it a little bit easier. So we horizontally manage some of the stress of the unknowns by accessing that. Karis was here, my children were here. My daughter, Chloe actually moved back in the house with me. She was a well-launched, responsibly launched adult. That was a horizontal thing we could do. So I think that's what made me.
I love that explanation, because I think in this past year, when we're talking about goal setting and resolutions, I think this past year a lot of us set out with some really good intentions. And may have gotten knocked off course, and some of those things were completely out of our control. So losing your job this year was out of your control. Let me get it correct. Was that a vertical or horizontal stressor?
Losing your job? Well, You know,
It
if you
was
lost it because you were furloughed from COVID, it was vertical.
Right.
If you went in and was insubordinate and told your
That's
that's
what we're talking about
horizontal. So try to find another one. So,
yeah, so things
yeah.
like ending up in the hospital.
That
You or
is
your family
vertical.
member ended up in the hospital with COVID this year.
that's vertical.
Or missing prom if you're a senior this year, missing your prom, missing that important football game, not being able to be recruited in the traditional way if you're a sports person. Those types of things were things you could not control. And that might have been your goal this year. Your goal might have been to pick out the best dress and go to prom. Or your goal might have been to go to your first semester of college. Or your goal this year might have been just to be more active. I know that was one of my goals, which is kind of hilarious now, is I'm a little bit of an introvert, and Karis is also one of our resident introverts. In a big family, you always have a few. And so one of my goals was to be more social this year. Isn't that funny? Because obviously I couldn't do that. My goal was to try to get out and mingle more. And then come March, I was like, wow, well, I'm not going to make that resolution because I can't mingle. So, and I want to say real quick, hello from Georgia. I see you down
Miss
there.
Mimi.
Miss McGlon, I think that's what that says.
Hi, Miss Mimi. How are
Hey.
you?
Hi.
How are you?
So we just, go
Oh,
ahead.
What'd you have?
I can say, just to add on to that, COVID came around when I was in my junior year of high school, and I remember all of my senior friends being really, really bummed out about how they were, not really having a fun time enjoying the idea of their college life being delayed and their graduations being canceled because, they were in a good chunk of their senior year before they had to,
Right.
deal with all of that. But I was really excited about my ring dance and I couldn't go. And then I just assumed, in my head, I wanted to be positive. I was like, well, maybe by my senior year, it'll clear up and I'm graduating in less than a month and I haven't been to a prom. I haven't been to any of those sorts of things or school events I would usually really enjoy. Like I was in orchestra, I missed all my orchestra concerts I would have been in this year. And just, it was really a hard thing to be like, okay, these are things I can't control.
Right.
But then what do you do with that? I could either be sad about it and, sit in my room and be like, well, there's no point because I'm not graduating and I'm not doing this. Or I could be like, that's okay. I still got all of college to look forward to. COVID's not going to be here for the next forever years because, let's be honest, I'm being in school forever. So it's not going to be here forever. And there are small things that I can still enjoy right inside the house here. And to be completely honest, like Monica was saying, I am an introvert, so I'm not completely hating being here in the house. But it's just, I took that, and instead of sitting in that sadness and wallowing in it, I did something with it.
And you know what? I want to talk about that a little bit. We hadn't planned about talking about this, but I think it's so important. But I think when you're looking at sustainable goals, we also have to address perspective. When you were talking, I just heard the word perspective. I was like, what you had to do was shift your perspective on what was happening around you, your circumstance. So when we're talking about those vertical stressors, I can't control those things, but what I can handle is how I act through life, how I am through life, how I am with other people as these things are happening. And I think when we're talking about goals, we're also talking about looking at, how we're going to do something, right?
Yeah.
We're looking at processes. We're looking at behavioral change.
Yeah.
And I think you can talk to us a little bit about behavioral change.
I can.
And perspective in behavioral change.
Yeah, I can. Right before we go there, Von Sil Belcher, you put something in about your cholesterol. And what I'm gathering is that you made some changes out there. So if you can put, what did you do sustainable? Because I think the comments have gone up, but I think you said you had the cholesterol of a champ. And Miss Mimi, you're right. These are real issues, and that's kind of what we're going to cover. And you guys, if you know someone that this information would be good for, please tag them.
Yeah.
They may not have time to come in here with us live and hang out, but they may have a chance to look at it later. You were asking me about behavioral change, behavior modification. I kind of woke up this morning and I was thinking and reflecting over the year. And when you go through things, we all go through things in life. And so I don't know that I've gone, and listen, I'm a woman of age. So I have seen some things and I've gone through some things. But I think the cancer diagnosis was the thing that really kind of honed in for me on behavior modification.
Right.
Because that's almost like, okay, how am I going to modify my life? One thing I didn't want to do perspective-wise is I didn't want to plan my life around cancer. I would tell my care team that I would plan cancer treatment, around my life. And that is the way I kind of did that. And so that is such a big undertaking. It is a big fight. I was diagnosed February was it February the 21st? 2018. And so, like I said, I just had my last procedure November 3rd. So this is in 2 months, 22 months, I have been on this fight. So I could not think about all the different procedures, all the different things. I had to say, okay, you want me to drink 85 ounces? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink that 85 ounces. I put a good team around me. I don't know if she's here tonight, but Saida Martinez, one of my sisters and her biological sisters, introduced me to Saida. And so Saida had gone before me in the journey. She made it sustainable. Right. So it's just not, when you talk about sustainability, it's just not diet, it's just not health. And we're going to talk about that in the end. When we think about wellness, the World Health Organization, for decades upon decades, only defined wellness as the absence of disease. So it took years for them to come and modify that definition and break wellness up into different domains. And we're going to give those domains. But hopefully I answer your question. Behavior modification, small chunks at a time. This morning I woke up and I remember the song, and one of the lyrics in the song is, I may only have one match, but I can make an explosion. I'm a tiny boat on a big ocean. And so if I can do one thing, if I can drink the water, if I can bring people around me, whatever is sustainable right now. I don't have to do all the things. Sometimes I just need to start by doing one of the things.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that if you start with one thing, that'll usually encourage you to do more things.
Yeah.
And so just starting out, how many days does it take to make a habit again?
21 days.
21 days.
21 days to make a brand new habit.
Yes, it takes to make a habit. I do want to say, too, Karis, from last Wellness Wednesday, we talked about some things, and she came to me, and she came to Dr. Riffy and I. She said, listen, I want to walk. Because, like I said, I can't go back to I've run 3 half marathons, right? Now my body has to recoup. It has to reset. It has to refresh itself from the treatment I've been through. And so I can't get out and train, for a marathon now. So she said, well, she was my accountability partner. That's what that support is. She said, Mom, we can walk, because the doctor released me to a light walk. And so she kind of drug us out, and, you get busy. You have to really, that's another thing in the horizontal stressors. When I tell you, she said we'd walk at 12 o'clock, I don't think we
like 4. By the time we walked, it's 4 o'clock.
It was like 4 o'clock, because it was like playing Tetris with the schedule today. But I just kept it in my mind. This is the one thing that I told Karis, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for being willing to be accountable with me. And so we got out today, and a half marathon is 13.1 miles. I can tell you, I like to fell out. Dr. Riffy had to come and get me at mile 13 to drag me the 1/10 of the mile in one marathon that I did. But today I felt, and this makes me full. It makes me, when I'm about to say this, I felt just as accomplished today. Yeah. So we walked 1 mile. That's it. That is what is sustainable for my body right now. And I can tell you, coming off of a major surgery, jumping back into life, because this is what I'm doing. I'm jumping feet first back into life. I'm not doing a lot of commiserating. If that's something I can say post-cancer treatment, I'm not doing a lot of commiserating. I'm going to jump into life, and I'm going to do things. That 1 mile to me felt, even though that's all I can do in a sustainable space, like that 13.1, because I'm, first of all, glad to be here to do it.
Right.
Just to be living. If you want to talk about how...
Yes. Let's talk about that. Yeah. We have a little bit of time left, so I just want to hit this really quickly, just based off of what she's saying. I want to encourage you guys, each of you, if you made it to 2020, you're already a winner. If
You're
that
a
makes
fighter.
sense. You're already a fighter. You're already a winner. We made it through. We're headed to the other side. And so when you're looking at your goals, take some time to dream. Take some time to be encouraged, to think about your wildest dreams. Put them on paper. I think 2020, we were already going through the cancer treatment, our family as a whole. And so we were already kind of on that trajectory. But if you weren't, start to sit down. Think of wild things. Put those on paper. Have a moment to have some hope. Think about things other than just how you want to change yourself. Think about how you want to be, not just who you want to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, it
I
does.
think when I would make goals, usually every year, it'd always be something to do, right? I need to do this to get there. It was always a get there type
Right.
of goal. And I think some of it, when we're talking about perspective and we've talked about change modification, when you look at all of that together, what it really is about is learning to be content right where you are
Yeah.
and being encouraged enough and hoping enough to make goals for the future.
And not just you, and I want to say this, I don't know who's going to come across this, but I really want to say this. I can remember, and I'll try to be quick with it because I know we're trying to watch time, but I can remember I used to have a saying that when I, as a counselor, as a mom, as a person, when my feet hit the floor, evil in the world has a problem.
Yeah.
Because I want to spread good. So it is not just for me that I want to do these things. It's for other people
Right.
too. So I resolve to fight for my life, not just for myself, not just for my children, but for other people too.
Right.
Someone needs to know. I am eternally grateful. Gratitude is the word, that I was able to flip the perspective of myself to life, to living. And I'll never forget that one day after chemo treatment, my chemo was every Wednesday. How ironic is that? So we're doing Wellness Wednesday.
I didn't even realize
I
that.
didn't think about that.
Yeah.
We're doing Wellness Wednesday. My chemotherapy for 5 months. I used to have a saying like, I'm not doing cute chemo. I'm doing the long-term big gun chemo. And so it was every Wednesday for 5 months. And I remember one Thursday waking up and one of the girls coming to check on me in my room. And all I wanted him to do, I was like, I just need my feet to hit the floor. And I had wood floors at the time. And they were like, what? You just need to rest. I said, no, I need my feet to hit the floor. Why? Because I knew my motto was, when my feet hit the floor, evil in the world has a problem. So that morning, that is all I accomplished that Thursday morning. That is it. And I remember the cool of the floor. I'll never forget it, under my feet. So now even sometimes that was what was sustainable for me that day.
Right.
Just to put my feet on the floor so I could shift my mind.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so now sometimes even I put my feet on the floor fine right now. I put my feet on the floor probably when I should be resting. That work-life balance is one of my areas.
Yeah.
But every now and again, I will get out of bed, and we're going into the cold months, and I'll put my feet on the floor, and it'll be cool. And I'll be so grateful in that moment because I'm like, my foot hit the floor.
I can say when we were going through that time where she was going through her cancer treatment and then all of a sudden COVID was a thing, I was going through a time where it all seemed very negative to me, and one thing that really helped me when it comes to that perspective, of shifting my perspective and waking up every day and going to sleep every night and saying, what am I thankful for? What are the things that are good that I'm genuinely just glad? And that could have been like, I am grateful that I woke up today. I had a bagel. It was good. I'm glad I had that bagel. Just like those small things. And it helped me shift my perspective of seeing the positive instead of the negative. So yeah, COVID's going on, and yeah, my mom was going through cancer treatment, but at least I took a really good nap today. So it's just like those little things, sometimes it doesn't always have to be those big things. It's like those little things that will get you through the day,
Right.
So
I love that because that's something that you can be doing. That's a sweet tip. Kara's tip. Sweet tip is what you can do is while you're writing your resolutions, she said, don't do it alone. Have your support network. Do it with your spouse, your family, your partner, your whoever. Sit down with other people and take time to dream, and also begin to write things that you were thankful about in 2020.
Yeah.
Because the whole year wasn't a wash. There's gold and good to be pulled out of this year.
Yeah.
And so if you have that, take some time to shift your perspective and go into this new year. It's going to be the new year tomorrow.
Yes.
It's going to be the new year tomorrow.
It's New Year's Eve.
Yes.
This is the last Wednesday of the
midnight.
month. This is
This
all
the
we
last of the
get.
year.
So when we see you guys, it's going to be
Yeah.
a new year.
Right.
Miss Belcher said she's grateful for life.
Yes.
so
Because you
true.
can live, right? You can be living, breathing. That's something I
Yes.
learned, but not truly have
Living.
life. So I don't
Yes.
want to take on all these horizontal stressors onto myself,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to take it one bite at a time.
Right.
I'm gonna take it, and when I tell you that 1 mile today, I walked it. I looked at the time when we finished. I had my Apple Watch. I was like, Lord, 35 minutes to walk a mile. But you know what? Remember when I was walking at marathon speed? But I looked at it, and as soon as I had that thought, I shifted my perspective. This is
Yes.
what's sustainable. This is what I'm grateful for. If you
Yes.
don't mind, I want to go into those 8
Yes.
domains of
Yes. I was
wellness.
just about to say
And
that.
if we can like put those down. So remember we talked about the World Health Organization shifted the perspective of wellness to expand it to be more than just the absence of disease or dis-ease. Today we're going to give you the 8 domains of wellness. Want you to think about them. You guys that are in the chat, when we give them to you, I just want you to, I'm going to give you the couple that I feel like I need to start doing some sustainable movement in. And if you ladies, Miss Von Sil, Miss Mimi, if you guys, and I can't see who else is in the chat, I'm pretty sure Andriana's going to watch this later. She's good about that. Her friend Ava, I saw them today. So when you guys look at it, just kind of drop in the chat the things you want to work on. 8 domains of wellness. They are emotional and mental, environmental, financial, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual.
Yeah.
Those are the 8 domains. So what we plan to do is we plan to this year, we've already kind of started, future casting it for upcoming weeks. We're going to just take a chunk. Take Miss Mimi, I thought you made another comment and I was trying to look for it, but we're going to take those 8 domains of wellness and we're going to take a month and we may cover it in that month. Raina, can you do me a favor? Can you slide up those comments? Because I don't want to miss what people are saying. I guess that way. So we're on the last comment.
Yes.
Because I don't want to miss anything. Miss Mimi, you're awesome too. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this with friends that you
Absolutely.
feel like want to hear it. But those are our 8 domains of wellness. So we will be taking them and we'll be piecing them out. We come from an integrative space, a collaborative space. Dr. Riffy mentioned that she's the director of medical. For our practice, I'm the director of behavioral health. So we tend to have, put those things together. We're making collaborations on things that are sustainable in our community. Can you talk a little bit as we close out
Absolutely.
tonight?
So just quickly in closing, our group, of course, we're still offering the COVID care groups. If you want more information on that, you can watch our video from last week. And we are also starting to work to get connected with the public schools in this area and also some of the local hospitals and healthcare facilities, just to bring out some much needed counseling services to people that have been impacted heavily from COVID in 2020.
Yeah.
Last thing we are going to do for today, I'm so excited, is we are going to give away a book so that you can go into the new year. Our book
Yes.
is called Today I Affirm. It's a lovely guide that you can go through. You can fill it out day to day. It's like a kind of like a devotional type thing.
Well, kind of
Kinda
like
like
a
that.
journal.
A journal, yeah.
It says a journal that nurtures self-care. I like this one because it's not like another task. If you can see it, a lot of the pages are bulky.
Yeah.
And it only takes me a few minutes, and it kind of encourages me because a lot of times when we're people that care for people, we have a tendency not to take enough time.
Right.
So I actually use this journal as myself as well. It sits on my desk in the office, and I just may pick it up and just jot something in it. If you can see, this is mine, and so I didn't even get past the first page. The first page says self-care teaches me that I can pour into myself just as much as I pour into others. Well, I didn't even turn from the title page. I'm like, I need to write about that. That is good. I mean, how good am I being about that? So tonight, Miss Mimi, would you do us a huge favor? Would you DM us your address somewhere that we can mail you this book?
Yeah.
We'd love for you to hear it, to hear how it impacts you, and we'd love for you to have it. I mean to say. So, Miss Mimi, if you can inbox us. I don't know if you're on a Send Wellness Services page. I think that's the way you need to do it. If not,
reach out to you too.
Yeah, we can reach out to you, and I'll inbox you. Or my kids say, "Mom, stop saying inbox. Say it's the inbox, and you DM people, Mom, in the inbox." And so that's why I have them, because they're young. But Miss Mimi, we want you to have this book, and we'll get it out to you. And it's one, you guys. For you guys, also, it is by Alexandria L. So the first name is Alexandria. The last name is L, E-L-L. I'm not sure if we can pin that in the comments so people can come back, and people that watch it on replay or watch us in the archive videos can have it. It's Today I Affirm, and it's a journal. And I love giving tips. I don't know, what to say. I'm
so excited.
We're so excited too. DM us, Miss Mimi. So what? I'm a sale girl, and so we're not big enough that nobody's really even thinking about no kind of stuff like that. So I'm gonna tell you, honey, it's $16. That place you go and you prime things back and forth. I'm not gonna say no name, so if ever in life I don't have to be accountable for that part. But it is $16 on that. If you have a Five Below near you, this was like a therapist treasure, because I believe in bibliotherapy. I found them.
Yeah.
Five Below, $5. Let's talk about $16 versus $5.
Yes. That's a huge deal.
Yes.
All right. So we're very excited that you guys joined us. If you want that book, we've also pinned it in the comments. A copy of that book where you can click on it and purchase it. And of course, Miss Mimi, you get the free gift for this year. Go into your new year with your journal. We are so excited you guys joined us. We hope you join us in the new year next Wednesday. And guess what? Of course, we care about you. We want you to do well. And we want your family and your community to do well. So be the light wherever you go this week. We love you guys.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.